Jeremy?
For Io and Trent, obviously coming off a big win, what was the focus coming out tonight, and how do you feel with the performance?
I mean, the focus was there. I felt like we played well. I felt like towards the end, we got to, like, clean a little things up and finish games off better, you know, no matter who's out there on the court. You know, that just has to be our identity. But besides that, I feel like we played well. We came out start to finish. They hit a lot of tough shots. So kudos to them.
Talk a little about what Alan Griffin did for you guys tonight.
He made shots. I mean, that's what he does. He's a shot maker. He's a shooter. And he got open looks, and he knocked it down.
Trent, it feels like this defense has really started to change and get going here. What's changed for you guys? You guys have locked in, it feels like, last week or so.
Like Doe said, you know, we're more focused, you know, when it comes down to scouting reports. We're engaged. Everyone's engaged in practice when we're going over the other team's plays, and just calling out their plays and just being, you know, nasty, as Coach would say, on defense, just being really aggressive. So we're doing a great job of that and just being focused on defense.
Over these last 3 games, just what kind of spark do you feel like Kipper's just been able to bring off the bench for you guys?
I mean, he's been great. Kip, my guy, you know. Kip, no matter how he playing, no matter how we –
Yes, sir. My guy. Yeah, what's up?
No matter how we playing or how he's playing, win and lose, and Kip got the same attitude. I mean, he upgoing, he always smiling. I never personally, 2 years I've been here, saw Kip frown. I mean, that just shows his personality. That's why, I mean, he's a great guy to be around. Like, if he's on a team, you just want to be around him because he's just always positive. That's why if you ask Kip, I tell him, like, in the beginning of the season when he wasn't getting a lot of time or he was struggling making shots, I told him, Kip, you got the right mindset. You play the game the right way, and you always positive, so God will reward you. And it's just coming into his own. He's a great player on the block. He's just a great player overall.
I heard, this is for anyone, I heard Brad mention on the radio postgame that Georgie is battling the flu right now. What did he do tonight that you know was kind of impressive doing that?
Georgie is Georgie. He's just always going to bring that energy. As you can see, I mean, with the flu, you know, he's just very energetic and he loved this game. So he did a great job of just coming out here tonight and playing hard for us, helping us out, and just helping us get this dub.
Kipper, what's the dynamic of this bench now? You have Allen doing what he did. You kind of feeling your flow, and then Andres added to the mix. Just how's that bench feeling the last couple of weeks, and what's the dynamic there?
Got 16 guys that all come in every day and do their job to the best of their ability. And, you know, you come out and you execute the game plan as best you can. And you do that, you give yourself a chance to win a lot of ball games. So.
Kipper, you seem to be more confident, especially with the ball offensively the last couple of games. What do you attribute that to, and why do you think you've been more successful with finding the bottom of the net?
Like he said, we you know, we've been showing a lot of connectiveness throughout this last stretch here, and that's really our goal, to galvanize, you know, around each other, and you know, just focus on the defensive end and bring the effort, and you know, we understand that the rest will follow. So, you know, we want to focus on establishing our identity night in and night out, and offense will come.
Isaac? Hi, when you guys are going through finals, how hard does that make preparation? What does that change for you?
I mean, it's the same thing all year round. It's school, so we just take it the same way. I mean, finals to me is the easiest part because you just basically just showing what you learned the whole year. So, I mean, I do pretty well with finals. The team has too. I know we student athletes, so, you know, the school always comes first, so it's pretty easy to balance.
Rob?
Kipper, in the first half, looked like you guys were trying to implement some new sets on offense. Maybe didn't always go as well as, I mean, Coach was asking you for some direction.
You said we tried to implement some new sets?
Get some stuff going on offense.
I don't recall, I'm sorry. But I think we've been doing better on that end. I think we've been doing a better job of, you know, letting it flow and just letting it come to us. So, yeah.
Kid?
Next week is the bragging rights game, and you just finished with Maryland and Michigan. How does this game compare, even though they're not ranked, compared to Maryland and Michigan, the bragging rights game next weekend?
Next game up.
Yeah, it's the next game on the schedule. I mean, we just gotta prepare the same way we've been preparing all season for each team, and to just come ready to play.
Yeah, I mean, it's next game up. We go come out and prepare. Come out, try to do what we've been doing these last games, and that's all we can do. We nameless, faceless.
Trent, 4 steals tonight. You feel like those came naturally, or have you been able to kind of gamble in the passing lanes a little bit with the guys back there protecting the rim?
Yeah, just having those 2 bigs back there, it gives all of us guards, more luxury to just sneak out sometimes and just get in the passing lane and try to get steals, because we know we got help back there with Kofi and Georgia down there, and even Jermaine. But I thought I did a great job just being active in gaps and just going for those steals and trying to get them.
You guys ended up with pretty balanced scoring for the night. Do you get a sense of that in the game, where maybe you can feel like everyone's kind of contributing like that?
I mean, yeah. ODUs, Old Dominion, they're a great team. They have a great game plan. So, our game plan was to just come out and execute. We really don't look into the box score because we all know that we're great players. So we just want to come and get the win. That's pretty much what we're just trying to do, just, get that left column W. Really don't worry about the stats or anything, because when you win it, then everyone looks good.
Kipper, how do you view your role on this team? How would you describe what you want to be and what you need to be for this team?
Whatever that means for us to win. I think everybody has a very important role on the team, got 1 through 16, whether it's being, the best teammate on the bench at one point in the game, whether it's coming in and giving it your all for however long coach sees fit to put you in there, whether it's go get a bucket. So yeah, whatever that means for us to be a good basketball team, that's what that is.
Anything else for the players? All right, thank you. Happy birthday, Coach.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yep. Yep. It's always a good thing when you feel 35. It's a good thing when you, I guess, probably can act 35 too. Now, very fortunate and appreciate all the well wishes. This was about what I thought it would be. This was a hard fought. I don't think it was the prettiest basketball game. I've been concerned about this game for some time. I know how good a coach Jeff Jones is. I know where his program was at last year. And as I started diving into them and all of their sets and all of their actions, and he's got a playlist that's pretty deep, I knew it would challenge us. And then combine that with 2 top 5 opponents in league play. We can say what we want. There's a different element about Big Ten basketball and a different attitude, I guess. And so Thursday was a day that was a little more difficult, late night game, and we had a bunch of guys with finals and tests. so we were a little discombobulated with practice. And then we came back yesterday, and Georgie was not here. Georgie did not practice, was in bed with the flu. So it was, and they also got Carlson. They got AJ eligible, which we saw what he could do. But so there was a lot of things that had me concerned. I was really pleased with our first half. And defensively, I thought we did a good job of handling their stuff. Green is a guy that concerned me because of 6'5", 6'6". You know, he's got a great mid-range game. He made a couple really hard ones, but I thought DeMonte did a tremendous job on him. And you know, then we were fortunate enough in early in the game in transition to get going. Never gotten a great rhythm on the offensive end tonight, but again, a lot of that's attributed to them.
Okay, question.
You said on the radio that Io was off the charts. What did you like about the tone he set with your team?
Picked his spots great to go in transition. First play of the game, you know, we figured scouting report, you know, that they would go under him. They did. He stops behind it, makes 3. He saw the game tonight, and then he had a big defensive assignment. You know, they've got a young man who's burning at a pretty good clip, and you know, he's a terrific jump shooter. They run him off a lot of screens. That's a physical. You got to be physical defensively when you do that. You're going to get bumped and hit. And I thought he did an outstanding job doing that.
Eric.
These last 3 games or so, it seems like Kipper's just brought a different sort of spark off the bench, especially on the defensive end. Just what do you feel like that spark's just been for the team, and what do you feel like that could mean going forward?
Yeah, it's invaluable. I mean, and Kipper had his best practice yesterday that he's had maybe since I've been here, and we knew we were going to have to lean on him for more minutes, and we got that from him. You know, I was a little disappointed with his rebounding because I really challenged him before the game to go do that, and we need him to rebound. But he's playing with a lot of confidence on the offensive end, which we hadn't seen. We sure didn't see last year. So he's been very good, and we got to have him continue to grow.
Gordon in the back.
All of the steal, I think you were 26-2 on fast break points. Tons of hands in the passing lane. Was that something you saw in the scouting report? It just seemed like there were a lot of loose balls ending up with easy buckets on the other end.
Well, I think it's one of the things that we try to do. We're not as active in terms of being in the passing lanes like we were, but we still want to be very, very active with our hands. Get a lot of hands on balls as they drive them. Being in the gaps a little more aggressively, and then I thought we. You know, we got burned once or twice by giving up a corner 3, but for the most part, I'm very pleased because it's something we've practiced a lot at.
Jeremy.
Brett, Allen's obviously one of the best shooters on your team. What have you told him, or what's the key to him, you know, getting more trust or more consistent minutes moving forward?
Well, and it's like I told Al. I mean, he's an elite shooter, and I'm telling you, we've sat and watched practice where he can make 20 to 30 threes in a row. He can get on a heater that's fun to watch, and yet it's all of the important things on the other end. And you know, I got on him at the end of the game. You know, he loses Carlson twice. Now imagine if that was in the first half when the game's on the line, or you know, when it's not over. And those are the lapses we've got to continue to grow, and everybody does, not just him. But I've been really pleased with Allen. He's a guy. He's a valuable piece to this team, and tonight he was very good. Other than those couple plays.
Joey.
Brad, we've seen Kipper's role kind of evolve and change over the last 3 years. What have you seen of the evolution of a player to understand where he needs to be and where he fits into what you want to do?
Well, defensively, he was tremendous tonight. I mean, it's again. When you're a fifth-year senior and you have an understanding and the experience that goes with being a college basketball player, there's nothing he hasn't seen. And, you know, so he's quicker to pick up scouting reports. He's quicker to understand the coverages that teams throw at him at the other end. So, you know, his evolution has probably changed as much as anybody. You know, he's a young guy that scored 30 as a sophomore in a game, and yet now he's a guy that we feel very, very comfortable with on the defensive end, and a guy who can make a three, and he's starting to get that confidence back, and you know, he'll be a valuable piece for us as we move forward.
Isaac?
Brad, it feels like for the last 3 games, this defense has been really locked in and laser focused. How do you sustain that long term?
Come to a practice. I mean, practice. I mean, you have to practice that. We have the saying, everyday guys. I mean, it's one of the things it's why I try to coach. As long as there's time on the clock, I'm going to coach, because it's for the next game. It's for that next moment. And I do that in practice. And so it becomes a habit. And Kipper is, like I said, had his best practice yesterday. I mean, he was talking, he was diving on the floor, he was taking charges, he never blew a coverage. And to me, it's not about how many points you score. It's about how many mistakes can you stop making? And my challenge like this next week is for our team. I told them after the game, let's make a new mistake. Let's solve the old one, and let's make a new one. And until we can eliminate all of those things. And we got Kipper in a really comfortable place now because of his experience and understanding what we're doing.
Brad, you mentioned Georgie was under the weather, but 6, 6, and 4 and a plus 21 in 22 minutes. It just seemed like he was still active, even with or without the basketball.
Yeah, that's one, adrenaline's a wonderful thing when you're sick, but he's such a valuable piece. And I challenged our guys yesterday in practice. I said, all right, who's going to bring it now that Georgie's not here? And it's a tribute to Paul Schmidt and our docs, and they did a great job of taking care of him and getting him out here. But he's that valuable. And we tried to run a play to him to open the second half, and he didn't have a field goal attempt. But that's how he impacts a game way beyond points.
Kind of going off of that, Georgia makes a lot of post-entry passes that not really anyone else on the team makes. Just why do you think that is with Georgie, where he's just be able to make those different types of passes?
Well, he grew up as a guard. I mean, he's played in Europe. He played solely out on the perimeter, and so his vision, his understanding. I mean, he's played with, on the perimeter most of his life until he came to the States, and especially last year where he became a 5-man. So he sees the game very well. He understands it. He's got a I said it, the one thing that when I recruited him that drew me to him more than anything was his passing. And he gets Kofi a lot of buckets.
Coach, after the Miami game, you mentioned how the guys didn't completely understand or know the scouting report. You mentioned you were concerned about the Old Dominion game that you just played, and then you had the 2 top 5 opponents. Have you seen someone in the locker room step up as a leader throughout practice, throughout this tough 3-game stretch?
I think everybody has. I think that it's not just been an individual. I think that there's been a collective accountability and holding each other accountable. And it's not any one person. I think it's our staff has done an unbelievable job of communicating with guys, relaying information. But most of all, it's those guys in the locker room just holding each other accountable. And it's not one person. We've got a group that can handle all that.
Scott?
You mentioned previously that you like the balance you've been getting offensively. Do you get a sense of that during the game? Just not even looking at the stats, where you just may see that there's a lot of guys, contributing, and that may gives you a good feeling about where the game could go.
Yeah, if you'll notice, I've hardly ever looked at a stat sheet during the game. I don't ever look at it, and. A great example is I think we had 31 points and 19 rebounds the other night in the Michigan game. It's a pretty good feeling when you don't get that, which we didn't tonight, and yet you look at our perimeter play tonight. So if you're an opponent, that becomes challenging, and you feel for that. I mean, we knew Allen was on a pretty good, feeling a little bit, run a couple plays to him, and we we got Georgie a look to start the second half to try to get him going, and then you run an action to get Kofi a look, and all of a sudden, you come back to something else with your perimeter guys. That's a nice luxury to have that, and so I feel comfortable with that.
Isaac back here.
Coach, I don't know if you saw it, but Rutgers beat the tar out of Seton Hall today. What's your pulse on the league right now in the Big Ten? Is this the best that you've kind of seen it during your tenure here?
There's never a down time in this league, and the only reason I know anything about Seton Hall is one of Georgie's closest friends I know is out for 2 months, and I know how valuable a piece he is to them. Tyler texted me, my son texted me last night about the Indiana game. I do not watch other teams play on TV. I watch them enough on film that I get sick and tired of doing that in terms of watching. So the league's really, really good. I think it's going to be an 8-9 bid league. I believe that. And, yeah, you've got Rutgers. You've got obviously it was impressive what Nebraska did last night going into Indiana and having, going to overtime. This league's good. Coach Martelli from Michigan said, what a week, saying to me to open with. It's every week. And packed houses and great coaches and really good players.
Brad, it seemed like Allen really was feeling it, as you said tonight. How good was that for this team going forward? Because it seems like he hasn't had too many of his shots falling.
Yeah, you got a couple of really good looks in the Michigan game that didn't go, and again, that's what he can bring to this team. He can bring a guy who can make 3 or 4 in a row, and that flips that forces the other coach to have to call a timeout. It forces some different matchups, and Allen's a guy that we run stuff to. We try to get him looks and take advantage of him, and so I'm excited about that, and it's good. A young man shoots a lot of balls. He practices really hard, and it's good to see that translate in a good game today.
Marley in the back.
Coach, are you anticipating more minutes maybe from Tevian to close out 2019, and was today kind of the first step for him to maybe get his feet wet a little bit?
Yeah, he needed to break a sweat today, and and I've told Tev this. He's got to earn the right to get on the court. I will never disrespect the other guys that show up every day and have played and do all the right things. He's got to earn that right. Can he help us? Absolutely. We've all seen that, and today was an opportunity, and now we get a week of practice, and he's a guy that can help us in a lot of different ways on the glass, rebounding, not just making shots.
Brad, this bragging rights game is obviously amped up the last couple of years. What's this experience been like for you, and how do you get your guys ready for it?
One year was a lot of fun. The other year wasn't as much fun. It's what it should be. You know about it because you watch it on TV, and then all of a sudden you become a part of it, and it's everything that is great, not good, great about college sports. And it entails so many people. It's not just the communities or the university communities. It's the state, and it's set in stone. It's always right before Christmas and after finals, and that adds just a little bit more excitement. And they're extremely well coached, and they're in the SEC, and it's the way it should be. It's just it's a great rivalry, and it's a fun game. You don't see that. You never see that because in conference play, when you have rivalries, KU, K-State. When I was a player, there's 100 fans when you're on the road. This is split down the middle, and I'd challenge you to. They talk about North Carolina Duke being one of the great rivalries. Well, play it like this. It's a different deal. It's neutral site, and it's half and half, and it's a fun game. It's great for basketball.
Rob?
Back to new mistakes versus old mistakes. You ran some actions in some offensive sets in the first half. You were definitely not pleased by. I thought maybe you're trying to implement new stuff, but maybe guys were just out of position. Do you remember what I'm talking about? Some sets that didn't go maybe as planned.
First half, we were pretty good in transition. I don't recall right offhand until I watched film, but I think the one thing we never got into a great flow. So what you're saying, I don't doubt. I don't remember the exact set we were in, but that was again attributable to them and their defense. So I'll have to look at the film, Rob. I don't recall offhand.
Derek?
One more on Kipper. Has there been a change in his mentality or his approach? Obviously, he struggled with confidence last year, but is it a comfort in his role or just knowing this is his last year here? Anything like that in your interactions with him?
Yeah, I think he's all about winning. I think he's all about winning, and I think that it's what he can do to help this team, help this university. He's going to earn his degree. He's everything that has been good about student athletes, and his role is going to be impactful, and it might be a little different than what he anticipated 2 years ago. I think that's not in doubt, but he's adjusted to that. He's a terrific young man. He's always got a smile on his face, and he wants to do whatever he can to help his team win.